All right, good evening. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, December 27, 2022 Urbandale City Council meeting. I will call the meeting to order and ask Nicole to take roll call, please.
Carberry Montgomery. Here. Kroll. Here. McBurney.
Here.
And Obrecht and Blake are absent.
All right, thank you. Please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Urbandale is a national leader in character counts, endeavoring at all times to promote and model the principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. In conducting tonight's meeting, we expect that all participants will act in a respectful manner consistent with these principles. Item 2 is to approve the agenda. Ask for a motion in a second.
So moved.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by McBurney. Discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. Item 3 is we're going to administer the oath of office to two new police officers, and we have the privilege of doing that. I'm going to recognize Sergeant Taylor to introduce our new officers. So, Sergeant Taylor.
Hello. I'm losing my train of thought. City Manager, Mayor, and council members. It's been a long day. First, I'd like to introduce you to Officer Nathan Hintz. Officer Nathan Hintz is a graduate of Bondurant Farrar, graduating in 2017. Officer Hintz enlisted in the United States Marine Corps following high school. Officer Hintz served in the Marine Corps until 2021. While in the Marine Corps, he met and married his wife, Anna. After an honorable discharge, Officer Hintz moved back to Iowa. Officer Hintz was hired in April and is currently in field training on second watch. I'd like to introduce Officer Marcos Ferreira. Officer Marcos Ferreira grew up in Nebraska and ended up graduating from Albia Community High School in Iowa. Officer Ferreira attended Iowa State University and is continuing to work on his degree through Simpson College. Officer Ferreira is a current member of the Iowa Army National Guard. Officer Ferreira was hired in September and is currently in field training on second watch. Yep.
I, Nathan Hintz. With the City of Urbandale. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Iowa. That I will faithfully and impartially. To the best of my ability. Discharge all the duties. Of the office of police officer. For the City of Urbandale, Iowa. As now and hereafter required by law. I, Marcus Ferreira. With the City of Urbandale. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Iowa. That I will faithfully and impartially. To the best of my ability. Discharge all the duties. Of the office of police officer. For the City of Urbandale, Iowa. As now and hereafter required by law. I just want to say, guys, thank you for joining our family. Thank you for being on the police force. Thank you for protecting our community, choosing this profession. We truly appreciate having you as a city council and as elected officials. We will do all we can to protect you and do what we can for you to provide the adequate support you need to do your job. for sharing your folks with us. We will do our best to protect them. They need support. They're gonna have good days and not so good days. On those not so good days, make sure that the family and friends gather around and surround them and make sure they're doing great. So, gentlemen, welcome aboard. Congratulations. Okay, we are now in Citizens Forum. This is the opportunity to address the council on something not a part of tonight's agenda. I do know we have two that want to speak. First, Amy, do you want to speak first? I'll recognize you, Amy Going. Please come to the podium.
All right, hello. My name is Amy Gouling. I wrote an email back on December 13th addressing the SIP committee and the city council members regarding the bike lanes. And I'm just here to continue to express my concerns, specifically around the Aurora Avenue and the lack of valid stakeholders that have been involved and the awareness to the public on that specific project. Based on the review of the Urbandale Complete Street Master's Plan and the Community Engagement Report, it appears the bike lanes and Sharrow decisions were primarily based off of that preliminary data from the surveys. At the Lunch and Learn meeting on September 13, 2022, the conversation was filled with statements such as, if you build it, will they come to it? Kind of suggesting, will the cyclists come and use those bike lanes that we are putting in place? In my email, I asked some questions that have not been addressed yet, and I'm wondering what additional data was addressed to support the bike lane Sharrow plan. Otherwise, that former statement seems to be hypothetical. And the questions I asked were, was data collected to determine how many of the cyclists currently use the streets? Was data collected to determine how many of the cyclists would start using the streets if lanes were put in? And then how often would they use the street, bike lanes, Sharrows? And the third question was, is the Aurora Avenue concept based off of the Bicycle Advocate bullet point number 7, which states, Aurora Avenue is an important street for kids going to school, and it could be narrowed with current traffic volumes, and that committee seemed to be made up of 4 people. I understand the Aurora Avenue plan is part of the larger SIP program, but I'm hoping there is a way to make a motion to pause the section to allow for stakeholders to be included. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amy. And Ms. Kirby, you want to address the council too?
Honorable Mayor, City Council. My name is Richard Kirby. I live at 9009 Valdez. I've got some things I want to talk about, and it's not a personal attack on any council member or the mayor. It's just information that I have found on YouTube and through other sources of information by trying to find out why this project on Aurora Avenue is going forward. I know it took several years to do a survey to find out what the community wanted. They wanted more bike trails, they wanted more walking paths, and they wanted the ones that exist to connect. The city took that information and contracted an engineering firm to do a study. The study was done stating basically there's 5,000 vehicles a day on Aurora, 6,000 to 7,000 on 70th Street. It's not a true picture of how many people are actually commuting on that, considering how many people are in a car or on a bus. Their last comment was they had no idea how many bicycles would use this. To me, that's an incomplete study. If you can find out how many cars are on that road a day, why isn't somebody trying to find out how many bicycles are on those sidewalks or using that area? I think we're putting 10 to 15,000 people at an inconvenience for an unknown number of bicyclists. Also, roughly 4 months out of the year, those roads won't be used for bicycling because of the weather conditions. Snow, ice, rain, heat, cold. So we're gonna put 2 lanes of bicycle usage that won't be used. And we're gonna condense that amount of volume of cars in a small area. Right in front of the junior high school, there's a turning lane. Where's the bicycle lane going to be there? Is it going to be between the turning lane and the lane of traffic? Or is it going to be in the turning lane for the people going in there? I didn't see that in the study. I contacted several agencies that are contracted with the school district, and I talked to different departments in the city. No one was aware of this plan. Everybody asked why. And I said, that's why I'm gathering information. I want to know why. So I did some research. I started looking at the lunch and learn videos on YouTube. I looked at the city council meetings on YouTube. And I came across one titled, Urbandale, This is Iowa. And this is not a knock on you, Mayor, but this is what you stated. In 2020, we have great opportunities and benefits living in Urbandale. He also stated the city of Urbandale has over 50 miles of trails in the city limits, and that he can navigate the trails as far west as he wants to go. He can go as far east as he wants to go. He can even go to downtown Des Moines, connecting with the existing trails throughout the metro, while the whole time not hitting a single street, which I believe is the most common factor in riding a bike, is to stay out of the streets. Other cities have tried to do the same project in and around the city of Metro of Des Moines, because Des Moines has a comprehensive plan that they want all the suburbs to be able to interconnect with their trails. It isn't working in a lot of places. They have canceled it. They have changed their plans. One stretch in downtown Des Moines on Ingersoll Avenue, they've redone that stretch 3 times trying to make that work, and it's still not working. I don't understand why we need to do more if we have trails that work and can get us where we want to go from one side of town to the other in downtown. It doesn't make sense to inconvenience that many people commuting per day for a few unknown number of bicyclists. I'm asking that one council member make a motion to cancel this project, a second by another member, and that the whole body votes to disallow and not go further with this program. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kirby. You know, I'm just going to say this at this point. I appreciate your comments, both from Ms. Goulding and Mr. Kirby, and I appreciate where you've gone. You know, I will say this is about access. This is about access for all modes of transportation. It's not just about vehicles. And so from that perspective, the Complete Streets program is to do that. And when you say people don't ride, they do ride. People do ride their bikes 12 months a year because they need to, and that's their mode of transportation. So again, you know, the council will look at this. This is part of the Complete Streets program that we have in Urbandale to provide the access and the opportunity for all modes of transportation within our city. So with that, thank you for your comments, so I appreciate it. Is there anyone else like to address the council on something that's not a part of tonight's agenda? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Larry Worthington. I live at 4120 81st. Basically, it's 81st and Aurora.
Okay.
I'm well familiar with the traffic around the junior high and the high school. I'm a retired Des Moines police officer. I am well familiar with traffic patterns. It's terrible around the junior high and the high school. Cutting the lanes down is going to magnify that problem immensely. It's going to be much, much worse. There's going to be more accidents if you put bicycles in the mix of it. I'm a bicycle rider. I ride all over, and like you, Mr. Mayor, I can go clear downtown. I go clear to Waterworks Park from my house, have no trouble. If you throw bicycles in the mix around the junior high and the high schools, you're going to have some tragic accidents. That's going to be on your conscience. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Worthington. All right, is there anyone else like to address the council on something that's not a part of tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, then we'll move on. Item 5 was the adoption of the minutes, first from the December 13 meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Kroll, second by McBurney. Discussion, please vote. That passes. And then secondly, the December 20 lunch and learn.
So moved.
Motion by Kroll.
Oh, I'll second.
Second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. Thank you, that passes.
We'll have to, quorum not met.
Excuse me?
Quorum not met. So we'll need to redo it.
No, we meet,
No?
it's a majority of the, we have a quorum. I don't know why it says that, Nicole. Yeah, and that passes because it's a majority of the quorum of the meeting, so, yeah,
Okay.
that passes. Software can't tell us what to do. Item 6 is a consent agenda. We have 13 items for approval.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by McBurney,
Second.
second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. That passes. All right, item 7 is to establish a public hearing for the 2023-2028 capital improvements program. AJ, you want to answer any questions if there are?
Be happy to answer any questions. The CIP committee has met, conducted their review and their public hearing, and has submitted that on for the establishment of the public hearing at January 10th. Be happy to answer any additional questions that you may have procedurally.
AJ?
Yes.
I just had this on my desk, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. There was a variety of communications that the committee was going to send to the council.
They are
Are they're in the transmittal letter?
They're in the, if they're not in the transmittal letter, they'll be in the minutes of the
Okay.
of what transpired. Addison and I sat down and reviewed them from my notes in the book to what he was transpiring in the minutes.
Okay.
So that would be the official record of what they had moving forward.
Okay, well then I would really like if my fellow council members would read the minutes from the public hearing, because there was a variety of items that the committee, the changes to the document were very minor, but there was a lot of things that the committee wanted to communicate to the council that were important to different members and the whole of the committee overall. So I don't know if there's a way, AJ, that some of that can be pulled out into a single document, because that's a lot of minutes, probably.
I will sit with Addison tomorrow and we'll do a synopsis.
Yeah.
And that way we'll push that out to council before the end of the week.
Okay, that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
All right, good.
And thank you to staff and Addison and tech support and everyone that took part in that. It went great, as always. Getting it done in 2 nights is perfect, with 1 night and then a public hearing. And we couldn't do it without the amazing preparation that all of staff puts in ahead of time. So
Pass that along. They
I
did a
look
great
forward to robust discussion on the 10th.
All right, great, thank you. So, is that a motion?
Oh, I would happily establish the public hearing for the 2023 to 2028 and beyond capital improvements program.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery,
Second?
second by Kroll. Discussion, please vote. And that passes.
So that'll be the official opportunity to, again, discuss the concerns with that item on Aurora.
All right, item 8 is to consider the Downtown Urbandale Assistance Policy, and to introduce this is our Assistant Director of Economic Development, Aaron DeYoung. Aaron?
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. Aaron DeYoung with the Economic Development Department. First item for me to present to you is the Downtown Urbandale Assistance Policy. Staff prepared this for your consideration as a policy guide to kind of allocate the resources through the ARPA funding that the city receives through the pandemic funds at the federal level. Overarching the assistance policy, we're trying to help encourage lasting investments in the real estate along the corridor and within the downtown area. You might say the downtown area, what is that exactly? And so for this policy, we've bounded the the properties here with Airline on the north, the city boundary on the east, Rosedale on the south, and then 72nd on the west. So these would be the areas where this policy would apply and be eligible for assistance. So the policy would outline several areas, and we tried to write this to be a flexible document so that we can, again, be flexible with property owners and assisting with quality investments. First would be public infrastructure, and then preparing properties for redevelopment, potential land assemblage if that is a worthy endeavor in areas of that downtown area. Facade improvements and building systems assistance with improvements to those to properties. Revitalization of existing structures to help encourage retail or commercial uses to go into those should they be vacant. And then also encouraging mixed-use development where appropriate, either residential and commercial types of uses. That's a fast way of going through it. Happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the first version of the policy. We'll certainly learn as we go through this process, but wanted to have something for you to consider and hopefully approve because staff recommends it. So.
All right.
Well, I'm excited to see this in front of us tonight. And also the next item, I'm going to ask some questions that I got from the second item, but I want to ask them now to make sure that I'm okay with the program. I guess I doubt that it'll change my mind. But so the $15,000 in this instance on the next item that gets repaid, is that cleaned in terms of the ARPA regulations?
Sure.
You know what I'm asking? Like, does
Yes.
it have to go
Yes.
back
So,
into the ARPA
actually,
fund, or does it go back into an economic development fund, or when the repayment
Yes, so
happens?
I'll try and go technical. Nikki Lamb is our real guru on this thing. However, so utilizing the ARPA funds through the audit committee, it was approved that the funds would then be used for staffing, which was an eligible cost. Then through your discussions, it was the key of, and that was the event that then satisfied the ARPA requirements as for the uses. So stating to the federal government that we were using them for the staff load that we had that was eligible for the pandemic, then completed that requirement from the state, from the federal government. Am I saying that right, AJ?
Yes, and
Fully confused
the-
now. What
well-
does the staff have to do with the $15,000 that we'd get repaid by Stanborough?
the dollars that were allocated to the city during ARPA, one of the, toward the end of the not the end of the program, but as cities were struggling to find ways to fulfill the requirements of ARPA, the federal government came out and said, you know what, if you have 10 million and under, that you can use them for any legal purpose that the city incurs. And so the recommendation that was sent to the audit committee, and they're approved, was that the dollars be used for staff support, essentially paying for salaries. We still have the same dollars identified in the ARPA, but what it does, it removes all the timeframes and reporting requirements. So we will conduct this entirely as if we had reporting requirements.
Okay.
And the monies will come back to the city in that loan payment to be utilized either in additional loans to be made or to be used however the council wishes within the guidelines or the parameters of the programs that they established that they want to use ARPA for. But what it did is that it simply just freed us of any timeframes, not having to decide by 24 and spend by 26. And those monies they are set aside in a specific capital fund. Every dime is accounted for and will be through the ARPA process, but we will not have the ARPA requirements as far as any reporting and any timelines.
Okay, so this is not my area of expertise, this finance.
Sure.
So the ARPA money is getting used to pay staff salaries.
We did that to spend the money at the
Yes.
request of the federal government
Okay.
because
And then money is getting put in to an ARPA account
the money.
that was gonna get.
When we
so-
received the ARPA dollars, all $6.6 million, we established a capital fund, and I think Nikki explained that we had a place to deposit it that was identifiable. And for us, a capital fund typically is used sidewalks, streets, et cetera, but this was set aside. So it is in a separate fund accountable to, well, let me back up. It's a separate fund that is used only for those items that are approved for council under the ARPA framework, but we don't have to account for or do any of the reporting for ARPA or following their guidelines anymore. We have satisfied all of our federal requirements for ARPA. We are done. And so what this will do then is give you an elongated period of time, and we'll still use the parameters of the program that you established that you wanted to spend the ARPA dollars on. And so cities like ours that had a number of programs that we wanted to accomplish, this was an acceptable route that actually was encouraged and was previewed and discussed by our outside auditors in compliance with all the ARPA regulations. And so they made that presentation to the audit committee, and the audit committee agreed and approved that.
So for Amy and I that weren't
Yes.
on the audit committee, this
Yes.
might be the first time we're hearing about this.
actually,
I mean, it doesn't sound like a big deal. I mean,
We approved it at the council.
well, we approved had the spending plan, but I don't
Yeah.
remember
The,
this level.
yeah,
It simply clarifies, eliminates
Yeah.
the strings. per
That's it.
se,
Which is great.
And makes it
Yes.
cleaner.
Yes.
I don't remember,
Ultimately.
I guess, hearing it about it in this.
and it was
Detail.
probably in a consent agenda under the audit committee meeting, so that's an
that would be why.
apology. I know that Nikki would plan to discuss this further with you during the budget session, but at the same time, this is part of the program. It has no drawbacks.
No, no,
Except
no.
for that, and again, it was into the audit committee, it was submitted for your approval under consent agenda, I do.
No, that's,
yeah.
that's
And so.
totally,
Common
Yeah.
practice.
it's totally
It
fine. I
is.
just.
No, and I appreciate that, the comment about,
So,
not knowing.
so
it's
the
not-
$15,000 will get back, put it back
Yes.
into the fund.
You'll put it
that the
back
ARPA money
into the
is in.
capital fund that is
Yes.
designated for all the projects and activities that you wanted to do. And again, all it does is we've met all of our federal requirements. It's been blessed by our auditor. Their auditing firm does for communities all throughout Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin.
That's
This
just,
is,
just fine.
they're all doing this. So this
Okay.
was, we have met that.
Sorry to
No,
derail your presentation.
I apologize for any faux pas at the staff level.
No, I mean, this
Nope.
is, I'm sure Larry fully understands this, being on the audit committee,
Well,
but,
yeah, we had the discussion, I thought we had the discussion on council, maybe we didn't, I'm sorry.
no, I mean, it's fine, but, thank you for.
But yes, we did have a pretty full
explanation.
discussion at the audit committee on it, so, and talked to
So,
our auditors.
I think my other question, I'll wait for the actual Stanboro
Great.
item. So, but no, I think this is fantastic, and I hope to see many more very soon.
Yes, yep.
I move to approve Resolution 296-2022.
Motion by Kroll,
I'll second.
second by Carberry Montgomery. Any further discussion? Not, please vote. That passes. All right, then item 8.2 is to consider the assistance agreement for the Stanboro companies for 6656 Douglas Avenue. Aaron?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Yeah, so this will be the first use of this downtown Urbandale assistance policy, 5 seconds after it got approved. So, yeah, this is for Stanboro Companies. They are the owner of 6656 Douglas, which is a small map is here up on the screen for you. That's the former Plaza Florist building on Douglas, right next to Bike World and O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're adjacent to 67th Street. Stanboro Companies has owned the property for almost 2 years now, tried to lease the property, purchased it for a redevelopment potential, but thought, hey, let's try to lease it. But he's decided that demolition and having it set up for redevelopment is a desirable option for him, and the city and economic development staff thinks it's a worthy endeavor to help out in that regard. So what we've worked out with Stanboro Companies is a $30,000 assistance package through this policy, $15,000 of to be a grant to assist with demolition. The demolition cost is $30,000, so it's a half half of the contribution towards that demolition of the property, of the structures on the property. And then the second component is tied to a conceptual design effort similar to our site development assistance policy that the economic development staff has. This would be for downtown, and so $15,000 to assist with that effort to look at concepts, either mixed use or commercial types of development that would be in concert with our upcoming comprehensive plan that we're working through right now to see the revision of the Douglas corridor through downtown Urbandale. So that would be the second component of this assistance, is to help out with that conceptual planning effort. So that's the very nitty gritty on that agreement. Happy to answer any questions.
All right.
So my question is, when you say, or when I read infill redevelopment, I think of housing. And that just might be my bias. Is that what you think would be would be part of the redevelopment, or what is your surface vision for?
Well, certainly the vision of the property owner is a very critical component of this in doing it. However, when redevelopment, certainly a density tends to go up so that you can utilize the land that you purchased. So that would be a mix of uses, including housing as a potential there. Sometimes housing doesn't work in a particular property, but certainly adding more housing units within our older neighborhoods is an ideal that certainly developers are interested in doing. But also commercial and retail is viable uses as well. So we'll be looking through that through the conceptual planning process, because residential has different demands and needs than what commercial and retail has. So trying to fit it all that works well for the corridor we're excited to get started with them.
And then, so the $15,000 grant, that will go towards, or loan, that'll go towards the conceptual part of the project. Do we offer like resource? I mean, like, these are people that can help you. That was part of the process.
We didn't go into that type of, certainly that's available, that we could assist through that process in finding an architect or an engineer or site designer to do that. Douglas Stanbro Companies has experience in this, and so they'll do that process themselves. But yes, we'll be a part of that process through the whole way.
Well, it's very exciting. There's no other questions. I'll move approval of Council Letter 7293.
Okay, motion by Carberry Montgomery. Second by McBurney. Any further discussion? Please vote. And that passes. All right. Thank you, Aaron. That takes us to the end of our regular agenda. Amy, do you have anything tonight that you want to discuss?
I should, but I don't. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season so far, and yeah, enjoy the rest of it.
Welcome back to being in person here. So.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Yeah. Bridget.
I spent a significant number of hours last week with the DART steering CEO search committee, and we will be hiring a firm to help us with an executive search at our meeting a week from today. So excited to get that rolling. And hopefully we'll have someone in the position by midsummer, and I'll have lots more to update with that. I had lots to say at our Lunch and Learn about DART. There's a lot of heavy lifting that needs to be done at the legislature, and I really hope that all of us at the Urbandale Council can get behind DART and help them get the results that we need from the legislature, because if not, we're going to be looking at some significant service cuts. But one step in front of the other, or 1 foot in front of the other for now. So lots going on. Thank you to all of our public works and police and fire staff for the immense amount of hours that they all put in over the holidays to deal with the snow and cold. And I'm sure lots and lots of time outside. So
Yep.
I really appreciate all the work that they did and just wish everyone a happy holiday season.
Thank you, Bridget. Larry?
The only thing I'll say is thank you to Curtis and Jan for freezing with me last Saturday on the 17th during Wreaths Across America. It was as cold as advertised. It went really well. Glad to see that we have community organizations that are so involved with the city. American Legion, VFW, you know, those folks put in a lot of hours and time, and just appreciate all they do for us. So
Yep.
that's all I got.
Good. Well, thank you for covering that. I know I saw the pictures of it. It looked like it was cold. So, but thanks for. And you know, I just want to follow up on a little bit of Bridget's comments. I think, and just more of a recap from our meeting with our legislators. I think, you know, obviously DART's going to be a big item on that, and then we know the property tax. I mean, that's already been out there in broadcast. We don't know what form it's going to take. I'm sure there have been some discussions. Some people maybe know more than others up there that how it's going to maybe take shape, but it's, you know, we'll watch the sausage being made as they get into session. So we just, you know, this year, we as all cities will need to be vigilant and watch that and make sure that we're communicating our issues well to our legislators. So with that, that takes us to the end of our agenda. So we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.